Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to RPtv.
Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today's Thursday, February 20th, 2020. Our top story this morning is an update from yesterday's news about an illegal puppy mill that was discovered in Scotch Plains. Let's go to Callie for the latest details.
You may remember the story from yesterday all about the suspected puppy mill in Scotch Plains. The man who was running the illegal mill, Dominic Ciabarati, was charged with 10 fourth-degree felonies and 4 disorderly persons offenses. The charges are related to mistreatment and lack of proper care of the animals. According to the Union County Prosecutor's Office and the Scotch Plains Police, some were pregnant and there were others that were diagnosed with severe dental injuries, dehydration, infection, and others. The Scotch Plains Police were called to the home on Monday to investigate the unsanitary and unsafe conditions, and a total of 132 animals were rescued. According to a statement by the prosecutor's office, the pets were kept in unsanitary conditions and many were locked in cages all day in a loud, stressful environment with no outdoor activity. Investigators did not find any veterinary care records, and unauthorized practice of veterinary medicine was indeed occurring inside the home. As of now, the rescued animals are still in shelters waiting for a welcoming home, so people around Union County are urged to visit a shelter and adopt.
The field of medical science is always on the cutting edge of new and exciting changes, and in the United Kingdom, that's just what they have done. Eli has that report.
A very surprising surgery took place in London, where a violinist had to remove a brain tumor. But during her surgery, the patient was playing her violin during the operation. Doctors analyzed her brain so she can be active during her surgery, so she could successfully play her violin. And the hospital stated that their patient was not damaged in any sort of way. The doctors knew how important the violin was to the patient, so it was vital to preserve her functions in very delicate areas so that their brain allowed her to play. The patient was terrified in losing her ability to play the instrument, but in good news, the surgeons managed to remove over 90% of her tumor, just in time for her to become healthy and her time in her orchestra.
Now it's time for announcements. The bowling team is celebrating the end of their season with a merchandise sale. Please see any member of the bowling team or Mr. Fucci if you're interested in purchasing a t-shirt, hoodie, or long sleeve shirt. Order forms can also be found on the school's website. Art Club and National Art Honor Society will be meeting Fridays after school in room 102 during the school year. We are working on projects and sometimes exploring new media. Join us. Also, Art Club and NAHS are collecting real or made-up recipes connecting to community, culture, or connections. These can be any size, handwritten and decorated, and will be sent to a program associated with the Bezos Family Foundation. For every recipe submitted, $3 will be donated to organizations providing food to undernourished people around the world. Please help. See Mrs. Scutro for further information and supplies. Start your day the right way. Our school offers a breakfast program available in the cafeteria starting at 7:10 a.m. Full price is $1.85 and reduced is 30 cents. Breakfast has many benefits for our students. Take advantage of our breakfast program. Parents and students are invited to attend the college planning night scheduled for tonight at 7 p.m. in the RPHS cafeteria. The presentation will cover the college search and application process. This event is open to all RPHS families. However, junior students and parents are highly encouraged to attend. Yesterday in boys basketball, Aiden Garambi Kelly scored 23 points, including 3 three-pointers, as Roselle Park rolled to a 75-51 victory over Belvedere in Roselle Park. Asher Phillips netted 10 points for Roselle Park, which opened with a 25-8 run and led 45-23 at halftime. Tomorrow evening, the boys basketball team will be home against Calvary Christian. JV starts at 5:30 and varsity plays at 7. Some people might think our next story is politically biased, but most people would probably just wonder why it has turned up as news. Let's go back to Cali for that story.
A Florida man undergoing kidney dialysis 3 times a week is upset that he can't bring a life-size cardboard cutout of President Donald Trump for emotional support. Nelson Gibson told local news that his family can't sit with him during his 3.5-hour treatments. To help, he began bringing a picture of Trump as a comfort item. "It just feels like bringing something from home to make you comfortable," Gibson said. Gibson said no one complained about the photo. Next, he started bringing a small cardboard cutout of himself standing next to a Trump photo. No one complained about it, and Gibson told the station that some people even took photos with it. On Saturday, Gibson took a life-size cutout of Trump to his treatment at Fresenius Kidney Care in Port St. Lucie. He said again that no one took issue with the new emotional support item. But when he returned yesterday for treatment with the presidential cutout, Gibson ran into a roadblock. "They told me it was too much and it wasn't a rally," he told the TV station. His son Eric contacted officials at the facility to find out what the problem was. It was supposed to be an issue of safety, infectious disease, which made no sense, Eric Gibson said. The Gibsons say they feel singled out since the center typically encourages patients to bring emotional support items, yet the same center is putting restrictions on this very same practice.
Stay tuned, we will be right back. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and stay tuned for CNN 10.
Today's edition of CNN 10 gets off the ground with 4 proposed space missions, and they go well beyond the moon and Mars. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. Thank you for taking the time to watch our show. NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, has 4 ideas it's looking at as possible future missions. 2 of them would focus on Venus, 1 of them would explore Jupiter's moon Io, and 1 of them would fly by Neptune's moon Triton. I keep saying would because these are just ideas at this point. They'll each be researched by a team over a period of 9 months. And when the final proposals are made, NASA will then decide whether to turn them into actual missions. So what would scientists hope to learn from all this? As far as Venus goes, one thing they're interested in is its atmosphere, which is toxic. Another is the planet's surface, which is hot enough to melt lead. Venus's scorching rocky landscape could be mapped. Jupiter's moon Io is believed to be the most volcanically active place in our solar system, so NASA would like to find out more about the eruptions that happened there. And Triton, a moon that orbits Neptune, could also be mapped and studied to see if there are signs of an ocean beneath the moon's surface. None of these missions would involve astronauts. Robotic spacecraft would be doing the traveling, and of course, all of them would come at a cost. In fact, the teams that are assigned these subjects will each receive $3 million just to come up with their proposals. If any of those are approved for missions, Space.com says each one would be limited to a price of $500 million, but that doesn't include the costs of launching the spacecraft and supporting it while it's in space. And for reference, the Juno mission alone, from developing the spacecraft to getting it off the ground to processing all of its information, was more than $1 billion. NASA could choose to give 2 of these new missions the green light. 10-second trivia. The northern and southern kingdoms of what nation were unified in 3100 BC? India, Egypt, Persia, or Japan? Events around the year 3100 BC resulted in the unification of ancient Egypt. One thing you might notice when looking at many statues from ancient Egypt is that they're missing their noses. Of course, these artifacts are thousands of years old. Someone might think the noses would be the first things to fall or break off, but a museum curator in New York City was asked the question so many times that he started researching why the noses were missing. And he found out that the faces were defaced on purpose. The reasons are complicated. Power struggles between rulers, changes in or disagreements over religion, political division, personal grudges. All of these are likely reasons for the damage, the criminal acts, the vandalism. But why specifically the noses? The curator suggests that because the nose allows someone to breathe, removing it would make that impossible and effectively kill the statue that represents somebody. There are many other ways, including natural ones, that these relics decay or become damaged over the millennia. And ahead of its opening this year, the Grand Egyptian Museum hired a number of experts to bring artifacts back to nearly original condition.
It's a labor of love. An army of conservationists and archaeologists are delicately and skillfully restoring a treasure trove that's over 3,500 years old. It belongs to Egypt's pharaoh Tutankhamun, better known as King Tut. This facility's 17 laboratories are being used to restore up to 50,000 artifacts of this nation's most precious relics. Up to 40 Japanese experts are overseeing this vast conservation project, from training local personnel to using their own high-tech equipment.
The technologies we brought for this project is like X-ray radiography and 3D scanning, and also like high-spec digital microscope, which can do the investigation without distraction.
The glass over here is fantastic because the visitor, once in the galleries, can see the face of the statue of Ramses II.
Egypt's treasures are being restored for their new home next door, a $1 billion museum at the edge of the ancient pyramids of Giza.
The Grand Egyptian Museum will show more than 20,000 artifacts that have never been on display before. They were hidden in storerooms, in magazines of the Egyptian Museum at Cairo, in storage facilities all over Egypt.
More than 7,000 construction workers are building this massive museum thanks to a loan of $750 million from the Japanese government.
It includes a conference center which can house up to 1,000 participants of a conference. It has a cinema theater which can have up to 500 visitors, and it has about 28 shops and more than 10 restaurants.
It has really the potential of being the resource for more tourism. After the conservation work, it will attract more people to the museum, and I think we will contribute to this industry, touristic industry, in the future.
Business news. Some American retail companies are just now reporting what their sales were like for the 2019 holiday shopping season, and at least for brick and mortar retailers, companies with physical stores, it wasn't great. Walmart is the biggest retail company in America. It says in the few weeks before Christmas, there was, quote, softness in sales of toys, video games, and clothing. It did see growth at its stores and websites that had been open for at least a year, but the increase wasn't as big as investors expected. Part of the reason for this, Thanksgiving fell later in November than usual. There were 6 fewer days between that holiday and Christmas. That gave Americans less time to spend money. And Walmart's not alone. Target, Kohl's, Bed Bath & Beyond, they all struggled last season. We told you yesterday how Macy's plans to close 125 stores in the 3 years ahead. There were exceptions though. Costco did well, TJ Maxx had good sales, and Amazon had what one business writer described as a blowout holiday stretch. Despite its disappointing Christmas sales, Walmart said its largest business, groceries, is doing well, and the company expects a strong year ahead. It's been able to survive and thrive in the age of Amazon, and it's made a number of changes to do it. Online grocery pickup and delivery is part of that. There are also changes taking place in Walmart stores themselves, but it's hard to say what the overall impact of robots will be. Our last story this Thursday is about a match made in heaven. Dog heaven. Honey and Duke are the names of the dogs. They're rescue mutts in South Carolina, and apparently they have a lot in common. They both love treats, and they're both dogs. So with costumes custom tailored for the occasion and a ceremony attended by close human family and friends, Honey and Duke were officially united as dog and wife, and the dessert truly took the cake. To heel and to hold, from this dog forward, for Barker or worse. Guess you could call that howly matrimony. They might have a leg up on human weddings unless they needed a pre-puptial agreement, but we wonder what the groom will do when he sees his first Honey Duke list. Listen, it's time for us to scoot, but not before we mention Monticello High School. It's in Monticello, Wisconsin. Thank you for subscribing and commenting on yesterday's show on YouTube. In fact, that's the only way to get a mention on our show. We thank all of you for watching CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus.